Hello folks, welcome back. If you're here, you are probably someone who has got big dreams, goals, aspirations for life, and yet sometimes, perhaps it can feel like a real struggle or take you close to burnout. Well, today I'm going to talk about how we can shift from really effortful creation that can sometimes really feel like it's going to take a massive toll on us into a more easy and effortless way of creating the life we would love. And when I say effortful or effortless, I want to be upfront. It doesn't mean we're going to be doing less. It might even mean we're going to be doing more. But it's where we're going to be doing it from that will make a difference. Welcome to Live Into Your Brilliance. This is the place where I will do my best to shine a light on the innate brilliance of human beings. That means you and me, and blow up those thought-created illusions that can sometimes hold us back and get in the way of us experiencing the life that we would love to experience right now. So we're going to look at this, and we're going to look at it through the lens of vision or dreams, and what it is that happens over the course of our life that can sometimes block us from our true creative nature and the way that we are designed to live into our dreams. Because that is how we are designed to be. Like, you can see it from a really young age. We are built to kind of step into our ideas, to step into our hopes, and to see where they lead us. And if you think about it, there's actually nothing man-made in the world that didn't start as just an idea in someone's head, something that they were excited about. The only difference is that they didn't stop themselves. They went, well, I'll go and take a look and see what happens. And some of the most amazing things that have happened in the world have come about through failed experiments, through people stepping in a direction, thinking that the place they were going was where they imagined it to be, only to find that they landed on something else that was even cooler than what they thought of. And it sounds like I've got one just in front of me here. It sounds so simple, but that's like where the Post-it note came about from. It was a failed glue production piece that created a glue that was just sticky enough to hold things temporarily but not long term. And so we ended up with a Post-it note. But anyway, I digress, and I have another story that I'll probably come back to, which is more personal, that can talk with this. But I want to just share some perspectives, as I always do. I like to give some visuals because I think it's helpful for us to be able to kind of have a frame of reference to come back to. So as you go through this, my only request, as always, is come at it with an open mind. You know, be prepared to look in a direction, see what you see for yourself, see what might emerge new and fresh. Don't take everything I'm saying to be true. I don't believe I've got any of the answers. I'm on this journey myself, but I find it really interesting to look and see what we see, because when we see something new and fresh, our entire world can shift. So, how can we dream big and play bigger? Well, what's really interesting to me is that I think to a degree we all want to do this. Like, there's an aspiration to really kind of live into our dreams. And yet sometimes we just don't have the clarity that we really need in order to allow our dreams and visions to be powerful for us. So take this Japanese proverb. A vision without action is a dream. An action without vision is a nightmare. Now, the first part, I think we all get, that, hey, we can have things that we're really called to do, but when we don't do anything in service of that, they remain as just a dream. Whereas for us, when we think about turning that into a vision, and it is something that we're acting on, it has power, it has energy to it. The second one, to my mind, is really the kind of source of burnout. excuse me, action without vision is a nightmare. It is amazing how much of the time we can spend like doing loads and feeling like we're getting nowhere, feeling like we're spinning our wheels. And yet we know that we're really committed and we're really trying. But we haven't truly connected to what it is that we would love. What is it that's alive inside of you? What is your truth? And, it's amazing because almost with every person that I work with, and for myself, when you ask the question, what is it you really want? Like, what is it that if it was 3 years from now, if your life could look the way you would love it to look, what would be true? What would you see? What would you hear? What would you feel? People are like, I find this really tricky. And because the reason I think for that is that we don't, A, give ourselves very much time to go there. And B, when we start to go there, we very quickly move into how would I do that? Or I don't know how I would do that. So that must mean it's not for me. And so the first thing I want to put on the table is the question of how, when it comes to our dreams or our vision, how do I turn that into a reality? That is the dream killer question. Because the only answer is, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know if it's going to come to pass. And yet, I have something that really speaks to my soul. I have something that I feel called to engage with. I have places that when I look, I can feel it in my body that I would be super excited to kind of move in that direction. And so I'm, first of all, going to just really encourage us all to take some time to get clear on what is your dream? What is your vision? Without needing it to be realistic, without needing it to live up to yours or anyone else's expectations, just to be with God. Yeah, like if I could, kind of a cliched question, if I could have a magic wand, this is what I would love to create for myself. And to just be with it. And I'm going to loop back around to when we can be with our visions, just how powerful it can be. But like I said, first of all, we have to kind of look at, what gets in the way? What stops us from holding our dreams, accepting our dreams, being with our visions, and holding them lightly? Well, it's a really simple thing. And I think it's the same thing pretty much for everybody in one way or another. And it's this. And you're probably sitting there wondering, well, what is this? And this is the unknown. And what happens when we have a vision is we don't know what is actually going to come to pass. We don't know what is going to happen if we were to step into that direction. We don't know what would happen if we were to speak it out loud. And that is one of the number one indicators that you are at peace with your vision, is that you are speaking it into the world before it has come to pass. I once got asked, where does the future come from? Well, the future comes from your words. The future doesn't actually exist. But the act of creating a new reality for ourselves, one of the biggest sources of that is the words we speak. When we speak into the world, that is not for me, the world answers, okay. When we speak our dreams into the world, we put out an invitation to the universe to come and play with us because we're ready to go. And yet, for so many of us, we stop ourselves doing that because of this, because of the unknown, and because of what the unknown then creates for us, which is, or what we create out of the unknown, I should say, which is fear. We feel our thinking about the unknown. And really, we're not fearing the unknown. We are fearing the stories that we put into the void. We are feeling the thought-created illusions that we imagine about the future. And our imagination is an amazing gift because it's imagination in the first place that allows us to be excited about a possibility. And then it almost seems that the very next thought is, oh, but what if? Or who am I? And, what if it doesn't work out? And so we stand outside the cave because we're taking our fearful thinking seriously versus letting it go and being at peace with, I just don't know. But am I prepared to enter the cave? Because I may just find the treasure that I seek. And I'm not going to go into it in this video, but the treasure that you seek may surprise you as to what it actually turns out to be. So why do we do that? What's at play here that if we can be with it and see it more clearly, might enable us to not necessarily not have fear? Because I'm not sure that's on offer. I just don't know. Like, I know for myself, it seems to be pretty common for me that when I come up against my edge, I have that feeling in my body. I get fearful, and sometimes I pull back and sometimes I step through. But the more I keep really stepping into the possibility that the cave I fear to enter holds the treasure I seek, the more it seems riskier to not enter than it does to enter. And that's what I want to look at now, is how does this work? What's on offer here for us to kind of lean into as a possibility, a choice for where we stand when it comes to our visions? This is a question that I'm going to pose, and I'm going to finish with it at the end as well. What if your life is a revelation rather than it being your creation? Because when we make it that it's our job to make our visions happen, man, that feels heavy even as I say it. Damn, like if I speak my vision into the world, then it's my job to make that vision happen. And if it doesn't, what does that mean about me? Well, what if it's not your job to make your vision a reality? What if it's your job to be guided by what is alive inside of you and to see where it leads? So, I don't know if you can even see this, but down here, this is where, in the bottom left-hand corner, this is where we're born. We were all born, and we are all somewhere. We're all here, now. And that's just true. That's a simple truth. And when we look back, we can see the entire life that we've created for ourselves. And it hasn't all been sunshine and rainbows, has it? It's had its ups and downs. Like, we have scratched our knees. We've fallen off our bikes. We have been around long enough to know that life is a contact sport. And it doesn't matter how well you play the game, you're going to get some bumps and bruises along the way. That just seems to be true. And so when we reflect back, we have accumulated all of these experiences on our journey, and they have left their mark in some way. And it's good for us to know that, because that is part of what might be stopping us from really leaning into what's alive in us right now. Because without a shadow of a doubt, you have a vision. I just have not met someone who's not excited by something in whatever context. And yet the challenge is that we hold our visions out here. We hold our vision out as the future. And depending on our state of being in the now, we can either hold it like a balled fist. I'll do it with this hand. Like we can get really uptight about our vision. And this is what it feels like when we're like, damn, it's my job. And when we're full of anxiety. And what if some of the stuff that happened to me in the past, what if that happens again? You know, because I know I've tried stuff in the past and it hasn't always worked out. Or, you know, I've had my fingers burned. You know, sometimes people have not reacted the way I would have loved for them to have reacted. And we can be down in what I would call the basement of our thinking. You know, we can really be low down. And when we're in the basement, it feels dark and constricted. Or we can come at it from an open hand, an open mind, to be like, yeah, like that's how life works. You know, when we're in the game, it doesn't always work out the way we might want it to. We actually don't even know how it's going to work out. And yet one of the questions that I often ask people is, if you could go back, would you change anything? They're like, no, not really, because everything is what got me to here. It doesn't mean we have to have liked everything. It's just that we can see, well, it's all been part of the unfolding. And you know what? It's not just our lives that have been part of the unfolding. And this might, you know, just blow your brain wide open, but it's 15.8 billion years of happenings and unfoldings that have allowed us to be here in this moment. So we can see our own personal journey, but actually we are part of the cosmos. We are part of the full spectrum of humanity, the full spectrum of life, and every life is lifing, and we are part of it. And it's just that when we're here now, we can get very caught up in what that means, rather than being here right now with what is our truth right now. And so when we think about vision, it's not the future. We can't know what's going to happen. There's only one thing that we actually know is going to happen in the future. And that's this. Like, you are going to die. We are going to die at some point. And we know that to be true. And even in that, I have no idea when, which is why that timeline at the bottom just kind of fades. It's like, well, maybe it's tomorrow. Maybe it's today. And maybe we've got another 40 years. Who knows? But that is the only thing we know about the future. And everything else, every other scary story that we make up is just that. It's just a scary story. But our vision, and here's where I think the real opportunity is. Our vision is nothing to do with the future. It is not anything to do with the future. Your vision, your dream, is here right now. It's in your awareness right now. It's actually a present moment thing. And it is not a place to get to, it is a place to come from. So when we can connect with our visions, with our dreams, and we're like, sometimes there's just something to do right now. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes like, that is my dream. And I don't even know what I'm going to do next other than to just be with it and accept it as my truth. And That seems alien to people as well. What do you mean? There's not something for me to do? Well, not unless there's something you know to do right now. Like, do you know the next step? And if there is, take that next step. That's the effortless piece. Effortful is, what's the 20 steps? How do I make this happen? It's my job. Effortless is, this is my vision. This is what's alive in me right now. This is what I care about right now. This is my why, my purpose, whatever word you want to use. It's just what you and you alone are excited about right now. And then the question is, can you be with that and allow that to guide you? And if you will, and you always have, even if you don't know you have, then you already know the next step. Or you know that you don't know what step to take just now. And one of a couple of things will happen when we accept it in. Something will show itself to us from the outside. And I bet you know what I'm talking about. When you've held something in your heart, you've accepted it into your heart, and then all of a sudden, something seems to pop up. You're like, that's uncanny. I was only thinking about that or talking about that the other day, and now someone or something has presented me with an opportunity. Or an idea is going to come to you. An action you could take. Maybe it's when you're in the shower, and you can get out of the shower, and then you can take it. That's what allowing our vision to guide us looks like. And when we do that, we take some steps forward. And then at another now, that's not this now, another now, further down the road, we'll still be there and we'll still have our vision. It won't be the same one. But we'll also be looking back and saying, wow, like I've created so much more. Or, as I'm going to say, maybe it's not that we have created so much more. It's that so much more has been revealed to us. Because when we're playing from vision, we're playing real time. We're playing it from the present. And because we're not carrying it as a burden, we're not attached to it having to happen. We are more free and easy because we are always playing in the present, and we're always deeply curious about what is going to be revealed as a result of us stepping in that direction. And so what we see is that our vision, it's not a place to get to. It's our North Star. And if we follow our North Star, then the journey gets revealed to us. Our own unique journey. And we keep coming back to the present moment. Where do I feel drawn to next? In my own personal experience, it's amazing. Like a lot of it stays consistent for a period of time, and then it changes. It's kind of how I've ended up doing what I do now versus what I used to do before. And so that brings me back to the question that I asked, which was, what if life is a revelation rather than your creation? What if your vision is a guiding force rather than a place to get to? And like I say, none of this means that life won't be a contact sport. That's a given. So we don't have to be afraid of that. Like I promise you, whether you follow your vision and allow it to guide you, or whether you get really uptight about it, you're going to get bumps and bruises along the way. So we don't need to scare ourselves about that in advance. That is what causes us to feel burnt out. It's when we've been driven from our scary mind, our fearful mind. But when you are able to be with your vision, when you are prepared to allow it into your heart, and when you are unattached from the idea of the outcome having to happen. So yes, you care, you're fully engaged, but you're totally okay with the idea that it might not come to pass. And actually, it probably won't come to pass in exactly the way you've imagined it, but you have faith in yourself. You have faith in what's alive inside of you, and you are prepared to follow it. Then your vision becomes, your vision and your journey are combined for you to be living your vision in the present. And that's what we want. We want to be living the experience of our vision in the present moment, not holding it out as someplace over there that we've got to get to. So that is what I would love for you to just consider today. Can you dream big? And playing bigger is not necessarily doing bigger stuff. It's actually playing bigger is right here, right now. It's the acceptance of it and then just taking those steps in that direction. You know, having vision in action, in alignment, in the present moment, and experiencing that. That is the key to having a more effortless, enjoyable, peaceful experience of living. And when we're there, then we open ourselves up to that being more available to us more of the time. And what it looks like to me when we're doing that, we don't experience burnout, even though we're really up to loads in the world. And how cool would that be? I hope that this has been a worthwhile watch. I believe that making peace and actually falling in love with our dreams and our visions and what's alive inside of us is one of the most vital parts to living into our brilliance. Because your dream, it was made specially for you. The invitation, I believe, from the universe is, hey, like, are you prepared to come on this magic carpet ride and see where it leads? Or not? No right or wrong, just a possibility. So if you're interested, if any of this has sparked any questions, please drop me an email, al@alkenny.org, or post a comment down below. I would love to engage with you. I'd love your feedback. And as always, I am here doing my best to live into my brilliance, and I'm in service to you in whatever way I can to help you see your brilliance, own your brilliance, live into your brilliance.